What's good YouTube, it's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul. Welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to remake from scratch Baby Keem's Casino. There are two tempos in this track, 137 beats per minute and 146. The track is produced by Baby Keem, Cardo Got Wings, Deats, Bridgeway, and Halm. There are a couple samples in this track. We're going to start off with the beat switch up sample, and then we'll get to it later on in the tutorial. I just want to make sure that's in the session, ready to go. But before we bring in that sample, we're going to change our tempo mode over to automatic mode. So when we bring in that sample, Logic will automatically detect the tempo, make it really easy for us to chop it up. So the song is called Dance of Maria by Elias Rahbani. We're going to bring that in. Logic will detect the tempo and do its thing. So once it's completed that, we can go ahead and search for the sample. There's not much searching involved because it is at the top of the track, the first 4 bars. All right, so let's just go ahead and chop that up on the 1 and the 4. And then what we're going to do here is just duplicate the track, copy down the sample. We're going to turn on flex mode so that when we change the tempo to Casino's tempo, it's going to automatically stretch out. So now that we set that, it's ready to go. Let's just hide out this track. We don't need it anymore, but we can leave it in our session in case we need it further down the line. And we'll just mute this for when we get to the beat switch up 2. Now, let's start off with the top of the track and that slot machine effect sample. So before we bring in that sample, I'm going to go ahead and just create a new tempo set. And I'm going to change the tempo over to Casino's tempo at 137 beats per minute. Now, let's bring in that sample. We're going to bring in the Casino deconstructor kit I put together for this remake. We'll look at the Casino samples. There they all are right there. Link will be down below if you're interested in the sounds from Casino by Baby Keem. So let's go ahead and get that effect slot machine. All right, so we're just going to take that and we're going to drag it right into our session here at the top of it. And we're going to make sure that this end part lines up with the end. So like that. And then it goes into that rage style synth. So let's get to that. For that sound, we're going to use Logic's ES2 synthesizer. We're going to start off with the default settings that load up. Let's get to the pattern and then get to some sound design after. So there's the pattern right there. Now let's get to the sound design. We'll open up Logic's ES2 synthesizer, and we are still going to use the sawtooth for oscillator 1, but we're also going to use a square wave for oscillator 2 and sort of do like a 60-40 split here. We'll raise the amount of voices here, and we're going to add a little bit of detuning. Let's pull the slider over to the right, pull the cutoff all the way up. And to make it a little bit more gritty, we're going to pull up this FM knob here. And then to give it that rage style synth, we're going to pull up the resonance. We'll give it a little bit more body with the sine level. Next up, let's go and shape the sound with some EQ. So I'm going to open up Logic's EQ. Take some of the bottom end and pull up the highs of it. And then we're going to go ahead and add in some distortion with Logic's Chroma Glow. So we'll go Control Command P, bring in Logic's Chroma Glow. And I'm going to bring in a preset here found under Bass Electric. We'll go to the Detail preset. All right, so there's our main synth right there. Next, let's go ahead and get that Pluck stuff that happens in the background. So for that sound, this is pretty much a lot of guesswork right here. I'm not sure if this is what they did, but what we're about to do sounds very close to the original. So we're gonna take this effect slot machine right over here, drag that into Logic's Quick Sampler, and we're gonna find a little pluck there that we can use for that pluck sound that we need. So I'm gonna open up my keyboard here. Let's just make sure that I'm going to take that little pluck sound right there. Let's just bring this back and make this more of a pluck. All right, so we get something like that. And then we're gonna go ahead and draw in a pattern here. But before we do, I'm just gonna bring in Logic's Beat Breaker because it's gonna be a halftime pattern. just to give it that sort of stretched out type of sound. So we're going to make sure this is on halftime here. And let's go and draw on that pattern. It's going to go something like this here. All right, so it's going to be something like that. Next up, let's get to some further sound design. We'll bring in Logic's double drag in here just to double it up. Bring in the fat drag in preset. Then we'll open up DQ and just take out some of the top end just to make it a little bit more darker sounding. All right, and then we'll put it into a reverb. So let's go Control Command P, bring in Logic's Chroma Reverb. We'll go to Cave. All right, and together with this. Kind of gives like that build up thing that you hear in the background. I'm not sure if this is what they did, but this kind of sounds close to that plucky sound. All right, and then from there we get into the drums. So let's go and just copy this over. We'll give ourselves 2 bars. We'll open up our drum kit once again over here. And let's start off with this first open hat. So let's bring it into our drum machine designer and we'll build out the drum kit from scratch. So it's gonna go like this. All right, easy enough. Next, let's get to the second open hat. So we're gonna bring in open hat 2, and this is just gonna happen on top of the clap. Oh, so wait, let me just organize this a little bit better here. Make sure that this is on the root notes. All right, and then this one's gonna happen on the same time as the snare clap. All right, let's bring in the first hi-hat. We'll bring it into here, into our drum machine designer. This is just a 2-step pattern, so we're gonna build it out like this. Go to 8s. All right, next up, we'll go ahead and bring in the clap and the ride that happens on top of it. So let's start off with the clap. Bring that into here. It's sort of like a snare clap type of thing. Bring in the pattern over here. And then on top of that clap is like this ride type of thing. So we're gonna go over to our ride sample, bring that in here, and we're just gonna place it on top of that clap. And then last but not least, of course, is that 808. So let's go ahead and bring that in. We're gonna bring that into our drum machine designer. Now this 808 is sort of a flexible 808 because it does change up twice in the track. So I put together like a general 808 sound for this song, and then we're just gonna manipulate it right now to sound like the one of the track. And the reason why I did that was so that you have a 808 that's sort of very flexible. So we're gonna go ahead and just draw on the pattern first and foremost. So let's go ahead and do that right now. There's the pattern right there. All right, next up what we're gonna do is just add in a little bit more distortion to this 808. So we'll go Control Command P, we'll bring in Logic's, for some reason, I don't remember what the plugin is called. Let's go over to, I know where it is, Multi-Effects, there it is, Fat Effects. And we're gonna go ahead and just use this right here. All right, and we're just gonna bring down the volume a bit. All right, so there is section B. Next, let's get to section C. So what we're gonna do here is just copy over the same drum pattern. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and create a new software instrument track, and we're gonna bring in a sound here I never released this kit. It was a kit I was working on. I never actually completed it. But there's a sound in here that sounds very close to the one in the original track. And it is like this gamer type of lead sound. So this one right over here, it's basically just a bunch of like 8-bit type of sounds. It's a fun kit, but maybe I'll finish it one day. We'll see. I don't know. And we're going to go ahead and draw on that pattern right now. This just basically repeats itself, this bit over here. Oh, copy it over once again. And this goes up. All right, so together it sounds like this. So let's get it sounding closer to the one in the original track. So I'm going to open up Logic's Retro Synth over here, and we're going to change this up a little bit. So I want this noise shape over here, so I'm going to bring that in just to give it some grit. But we don't want it so much in the sound, so we're going to bring down this mixer knob here. Let's bring down our cutoff and add in some resonance. Last but not least, we'll just adjust our amp envelope, and we're just going to make it a quicker attack here. We'll turn off the chorus. Just give it like this dirty sound. Right, so we go out of this. Right, and then we'll just adjust the sound a little bit more. So let's open up Logic's Retro Synth, and what we're going to do here is just turn the polyphony over to, we can leave it on mono because only one note plays at a time. I'm going to detune the sound a little bit. I'm going to bring down the spread. It doesn't need to be so wide. And then we're going to beef this up a little bit by bringing in some fat effects. I remembered the plugin name this time. This is the default setting that loads up. All right, and in this section, we also get another pluck that happens in the background. So let's just go ahead and just copy this over. All right, to start off, we're going to copy over this over here. So we get this pluck again in the background, but I'm going to make this a little quieter for this section. And then we're going to layer another pluck on top of that. So for that sound, we're going to bring in Logic's Alchemy, and we're going to bring in a preset called Game Over. So this one right over here. Let's go and draw on that pattern and then get to some sound design. So the sound is pretty simple. We're just going to hit on the ones. So that's not the sound that we want, obviously. Let's go ahead and manipulate that sound. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to change over the performance over to telephone. Next, let's bring in some ensemble just to sort of thicken up the sound. So let's bring in Logic's ensemble. We'll use the default setting that loads up. And then we're going to bring in another modulation effect, or sorry, multi-effect here. It's going to be a lot of modulation on it. It's the step effects here. And then we're going to use a preset here from the Simple Gated. We'll go over to the Overdriven Beat Maker. All right, then we're going to bring in some EQ, take out some of the top end. And then we'll bring in some reverb here. And then we're going to bring in a secondary pluck that happens underneath that. So let's just go ahead and duplicate this sound over here. We'll copy down the same pattern, and we're just going to move over the notes. It's going to go something like this. All right, and this is just going to repeat itself. All right, so it sounds like this. right. All right, so there's section C, and then we're gonna get out of that and go into the beat switch up. So what we're gonna do here is, because the beat does switch up, there's also a new tempo. So we're gonna go over to our tempo track over here. We're gonna select our playhead where we want the tempo to switch up at. It's gonna be at bar 20 in this case. And then we're gonna change the tempo over to 146, so it is going to be a little bit faster. And then what we're gonna do here is bring in that sample that we had from the top of the track. So this one right over here. And we're going to bring this over to here. And you see it's stretched out to a perfect 4 bars. All right, and then what we're going to do here is stem split this track so that we get all of these stems on this track. So the bass, the drums, and that synth ARP that you hear in the background. So what we're going to do here is, okay, let's just apply. We'll just extract everything. We'll delete what we don't need. So really what we want is just the drums. All right, the bass, the guitar. We don't want the piano, and we want this ARP thing. All right, so the first thing that we gotta do here is pitch everything down 2 semitones. And then what we're gonna do here is just increase the volume on this a little bit on all these tracks. Maybe this one I'll do a little bit more. And then at the end here, we're just going to remove this part here. So we're gonna go over to our fade tool. And what we're gonna do is just cut out this section here so that when we end the loop, it's not gonna sound weird. All right, and next, let's get to the drums. So for this, we're gonna chop up the drums here and just use what's here. All right, so I'm gonna take this over here and we're gonna go over to our scissor tool. I'm gonna take this crash because we're not gonna use the drums as is. So what we're gonna do here is we'll take this and we'll bring it into our drum machine designer. All right, and we're just gonna put it on the 1. So it's gonna happen on every 1. Sorry, just like that. All right, and then we're gonna take this tom sample over here. Just make sure that we grabbed it accordingly. All right, so we're chopping up the drums as we go. We're gonna take this and bring it into our drum machine designer, and let's draw on that pattern. Let's just make this a little louder. All right, and this one a little louder as well. Now let's build out the other drums. So we're gonna start to bring in the clap. So this just happens on 3 once again, create a pattern region. Next, let's go ahead and bring in another open hat. So we'll bring in the open hat 3, bring it into our drum machine designer. And then this happens on the 1 as well as the 4. And then we get our snare pattern. So let's go ahead and just bring in our snare. Bring that into our drum machine designer. All right, open up this pattern here and we get this. Actually, this happens on the second part. Okay, we're getting there. Then we'll bring in that secondary hi-hat. So here it is right over here. And let's bring it into our drum machine designer. And once again, it is a 2-step pattern, but there is a stoppage in the middle of it. So it's gonna go like this. Then we get to that 808. It's the same 808 as before. We need to adjust it a little bit, but first, let's get to that pattern. Now it is the same 808 as it was before. I told you this is a versatile 808 and we're gonna have to adjust it in a moment. Let's just draw in that pattern for this new one. Simple pattern, it just goes something like this. Let's just make this louder. Okay, and it's gonna go like this. Let's just make sure we set the polyphony to mono. Focus on the latter half. Actually, I think this all hits on E flat. All right, so the 808 sounds like this before we manipulate the sound. All right, now let's go ahead and manipulate that 808. So what we're gonna do here is open up the quick sampler, and we want this sort of to be like a bouncier 808. So it's gonna have a quick hit. So it's not going to ring out as long. And I'm going to use the same effect that we used on the other 808, this fat effects here. All right, so that is pretty much the beat right there. Next, I'm gonna mix it, arrange it. When we come back, we'll talk about the arrangement, and then we'll take a listen to how everything sounds together. All right, so here is the final arrangement here. You can see things get taken in and out of places. The only thing I want to talk about here in the arrangement is some switch ups on the 808. We did add in some vocals, but first let's get to the 808 switches. So over here, the 808 goes from that pattern we just did into this pattern. And then at the end, the pattern goes like this. And then as you can hear, we have some vocal chants here at the end. All right, some vocal breaths. And we have these vocals over here. All right, so those are some of the things we added in the arrangement. Next, let's go ahead and take a listen to how everything sounds together. there is Baby Keem's Casino remade in Logic Pro. For the Logic Pro users out there, I'm going to go ahead and save this entire session for you. Place it as a downloadable link below this video. If you don't use Logic, I got your back as well. I'm going to export any stems, audio stems, and of course include the drum kit that you heard in this remake. You can find that entire playback down below the like button as well. So if you have a question on this or just want to chat or any suggestions for future videos, go check down below. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Later. Peace.